And starting to the top right is our Protoss player for the MVP team. He's starting in the red in this mirror matchup, and his idea is
MVP Vampire.
Vampire should have been in Codas, arguably. Did not hold off Suoshin's attacks. And his opponent, of course, from the team Complexity, starting over here in the blue. His ideas.
Complexity Killer.
The PvP record that Killer has is, by the way, mostly restricted to his GSL matchups. So in general, if you look at his win ratio, it's not too bad. He has a 50% win ratio against Protoss. But if you eliminate all the foreign tournaments and the online tournaments, just focus on the GSL, it shows a different story. He has really a problem playing in the booth here and facing a mirror matchup. Might change today. He needs to win, as we already mentioned. So far, not a single win in this group. And Vampire, starting to the top right, is still without gas. Killer with the gas a little bit earlier, but he has a probe scout on the map, so he will know exactly what Killer has planned here.
Vampire going to go for probe production. Gets a second pylon first, which indicates he will go for the double gas of 2 probes and gas, which can give you a lot of extra minerals. There's gas number 1 and gas number 2. Pretty cool build order to do in this matchup, especially on a map of this size where you don't need to have that faster core, because this does delay your core quite significantly. We'll see Killer start his right away. There it is. And Vampire just a little bit later will start his as well.
In Protoss versus Protoss on this map, we actually see a surprising amount of Stargate play. I mean, not all the time, but this is something that we've seen several times here already. It's a huge map, and we'll find out what exactly those two have planned if we are going into one of those late game scenarios, an expansion, or if you actually see a little bit of one-base play here.
Yeah, Stargate play is great for this map because of the distance and how quickly you can use the Phoenixes. Your opponent can really not punish you for using Phoenixes very easily because you have to walk so far across the map to do so. You can see Killer's second gas come in here a little bit late, but I mean, in general, there's not too much variation. Vampire just up ahead, like about a probe, not quite even a probe. And it's just a cool variation. He has a little bit more minerals than his opponent.
The second Stargate, yeah, well, I wish. The second gate, that would actually be quite funny.
We've seen Shoyu do that before when getting ahead at proxy Stargates.
What was the map? I think it was Calm Before the Storm, wasn't it?
It was a map of that size.
Yeah.
I don't think it was this one, but yeah, I think it was Calm Before the Storm.
Yeah, I think bottom left, double Stargate, that was actually really interesting and a pretty cool build. But yeah, it's not the double Stargate that Killer starts. No, he has the second gateway, that's what I was about to say, because he wants to go for those double Stalkers immediately. Vampire with the earlier expansion here.
Yeah, very early.
And look at the chrono boosts here on those gates. He really wants those Stalkers out as fast as possible and put on some aggression.
And this is going to be exactly what Vampire does not want to see. He's actually gone for a Wayne Gateway expand. We'll add 2 extra gates, but this is really risky. The sentry that he has is not going to be all too useful against Stalker pressure that he's going to face. And Killer could actually add additional gateways, but he's going to go for robotics instead. This is really scary to face this much Stalker aggression on the ground with only 1 Stalker of your own as sentry. Second Stalker is about to come out, but he's got 3 that he's going to face, so he's going to take some hits on this Nexus for sure.
Yeah, most likely doesn't have to cancel it, especially with the warp gate research nearly done. And of course we have now the transition into the Twilight that you can already see on the production tab here. The Stalkers are moving in, but he cannot really move up the ramp just yet, so he just tries to damage the Nexus a little bit.
Yeah, it's impossible for Vampire to move down the ramp. He's actually just going to poke away at these Stalkers very carefully. But it's 3v2 until those warp gates are done. They're warping right now. You can have the warp ins to defend. Meanwhile, it gets a blink research.
And to be frank, this damage or this aggression by Killer doesn't really achieve a lot.
Yeah, this is why this is a great build for this map by Vampire. It takes so long to get across the map. He can't really try to warp up the ramp or anything like that. We saw the probe arrive, not able to accomplish anything there. He didn't have the gates to do anything with it anyways, but this is just a pretty safe and comfortable position for Vampire. It forces Killer to go for this fast robotic support bay.
If you think about it, there was a lot of chrono boost that he actually dumped into the gateways to get those Stalkers out a little bit faster. We have Vampire now with the blink Stalkers nearly done. How's the counters in favor of Killer though, with 31 to 28?
Yeah, Vampire haven't used a lot of chrono boost on his own gateway to try to make sure to defend. And Killer will get into the main base and see the blink research with his observer, which is quite crucial because He's going to have to make a choice. On a map of this size, does he move out against Blinkstalkers with Colossi, or does he just try to sit back, defend, and build up that Colossus count?
Important here is, of course, that Vampire doesn't have an Observer, so he has the Blink Stalkers, but he can't really use them to their full potential because there's no way for him to get vision on the high ground and then blink into his opponent's main base. That just won't happen. He can try to poke a little bit and put pressure onto the natural, though. Killer, on the other hand, is now not only getting the Robotic Spay, which is just finished, but also the first Immortals, and the second one is already being built as we speak. So Blinkstalkers will have a bit of a problem here.
Yeah. He's just going to fight on the ground. But the Immortal is the concern, and he does not get the Force Field off that he wants.
There's only one, though.
But he needs to be careful because it's going to be targeted. And now Killer is in a lot of trouble with even Zealots doing damage here. The probes block the Stalkers in a great Force Field.
And Guardian Shield as well. Perfect position for Vampire.
Killer's dead, man. There's no way for him to hold.
A great blink here by Vampire. The Guardian Shield was in. He had everything. The Force Field blocked everything that Killer had. Taking down.
Oh, traps the Immortal out. Yeah, this Killer is done, man. He's got one more Immortal in production, but it's going to pop out to die. He Chrono boosted desperately here.
Really well done by Vampire.
Yeah, such a cool build, you know? I really like this because oftentimes a player will go Robotic Support Bay. GG!
This was a short one, and now Killer is basically guaranteed to be in Code A. Not a single win, 3 losses. We have Happy, Vampire, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Supernova all being on 2 wins and 1 loss.
Yeah. And I have to say that build by Vampire was so cool. Just knowing that he would have a timing if his opponent sinks a lot of resources into that Robotic Support Bay, and his soccer count will be limited by that. Because when you are behind in Nexi, that's oftentimes something that your opponent will do. And then if he doesn't do that, then you're fine because it's such a big map, and you have a lot of control with the Blink Stalkers. You can try to catch up as well. Just such a cool build, knowing that his opponent may likely do this, and then he goes for the attack, the execution with the Blink Stalkers no matter what. He just did it. He didn't even know.
Do you know what's pretty cool as well? We have 4 players that are on 2-1, and in the next set of games, they will face each other.
Yeah.
That is actually like really interesting. We have Happy against Yu-Gi-Oh! And we have Vampire against Supernova. So the next set of matches is going to be the most crucial one of the entire evening so far. And it's going to be really interesting. The other match that we have is Creator against Killer, and if the trend continues, then, well, not only is it a Protoss versus Protoss, but it's also a Creator who played so many PvPs in the WCS career who's now up against Killer. So Killer is losing. Killer is basically in a situation where it doesn't even matter to him anymore.
Exactly. That's why he was saying in chat he's basically screwed, and now he definitely is. He's the worst player in PvP against the best PvP player in Korea right now.
Yeah, and well, we are back after a short break, and then we will find out who has the best chances of advancing today, ladies and gentlemen. This is the up and down matches, and well, we are back after a short break. See you in a few.